I don't even know if moderators posted that I'd be going live today. I didn't even think of that until just now. I haven't really been on the past couple of days because things have just been crazy for me. And a lot of traveling around. So, and I know people are going to continue to ask a million times, who am I? My name is Jax West. And my family? No. But now I can answer, do I talk to Steven? Yes, I do. And so something that I wanted to discuss, and hello, Inez, is Steven called me this morning and he told me that as of last night, I am officially approved for his visitors list. So I am going to be visiting Steven very soon. I'm not going to say when because Carla apparently likes to watch the videos in here and then try and fuck with me. So like when I was in Manitowoc and I did the video, she went and told Josh Radant to press charges. So you're not going to know when I'm going to go see Steven. But I will be going soon. I told Steven that I'm still getting a whole lot of bullshit from Tracy's minions and Carla, with everybody trying to blame me for while Tracy was removed. And he said, we'll handle that on my visit. I don't know what that means, but that's what he said to that. He says he has been answering people's mail because, like, he told me he didn't talk to people. He didn't call people the last 2 days, and that he's been writing letters, which, you know, Steven doesn't write a whole lot of letters because he's just not comfortable in doing it. And then there are whores that sell the letters. And so he said, out of all the mail he's received so far, there's only been one letter that bitched about me and praised Tracy. And he hasn't decided yet if he's going to respond to that one and tell them that Tracy was removed because of Tracy. So, you know, people don't have to believe me. I don't give a shit if you don't believe me. So it is what it is. He also told me, and here's where we're going to get into the drama. I mean, there's always drama. And before people start complaining about it, this page is called MAM Gossip. I started this group just for this. People keep confusing what MAM Gossip is for. And yes, when I make a post in here, or sometimes the moderators, when they make a post, it comes up as Steven Avery Project because this group is attached to Steven Avery Project. And I'm just frankly too lazy to remember when I'm going to make a post to try and switch it so it's coming from me. But if you are in MAM Gossip, this is a drama group. This is where we discuss the drama. Go for it. You can talk shit about the family in here. So if that's not for you, the Steven Avery Project page and group stays basically about the case. So I don't want to hear any crying that you don't want to hear this stuff, because then don't tune into it, because that's what this group is for. And what I'm about to say now is going to get people upset. But I'm not going to discuss it on Steven Avery Project. It won't be brought up there. I'm only doing it here. And here goes. He told me today that Sandra asked to be removed from his list. because of him removing Tracy and Angie. So, Stephen is that important that because Tracy and Angie were removed because they talk shit about Kathleen, and that Tracy has told Stephen not once but twice she's not sure if he's guilty or innocent, and she says things to him like, don't be stupid, that he doesn't take kindly to being told called stupid. So she's that great of a supporter that she now says, take me off your list. So if you see any post from Sandy crying that she's been removed from the list or any of that bullshit, she told Stephen to take her off. And then Stephen proceeded to tell her how Angie and Tracy talk shit about Sandy when they visit and Sandy's not with them. Stephen believes that Tracy and Angie used Sandy to get to him. And once they got to him, now they talk shit about Sandy. Oh, sure, they'll post on Facebook like they love her and they're all BFFs. But that's not what they tell Stephen. So I'm tired of the bullshit. I'm tired of, I'm the bad guy because I'm the one that's just going to tell it how it is. I'm not here to be anybody's friend. So Stephen got pissed at me from whatever these people were telling him, because remember I told you I haven't talked to him in about the same exact amount of time that Tracy was put on his list. I don't ask Stephen why he didn't talk to me. He tells me what he wants to tell me. But I find it very interesting. And prior to that, Stephen, as I've said a million times, Stephen told me nobody talked more shit about me to him than Tracy. So again, she can pretend to be she's above it all because she doesn't post shit about me. But behind closed doors, she's trying to fuck me over at every turn. So I'm not going to hide behind closed doors. Well, I guess technically MAM Gossip's a closed door since it's a closed group. But we keep this a closed group because to try to minimize guilter bullshit, but we know all the guilters are in here because I don't think they can survive a day without following the Steven Avery case. So I have supported Stephen the entire time. Whether or not the family liked me, family hated me. Stephen liked me. Stephen, I always said he hated me. He says he doesn't hate anybody because that's what I said. I said I would tell him when people asked, do you talk to Stephen? And I'd say, no, I haven't talked to Stephen in a while. He hates me. And he's like, I don't hate nobody. But I believe Stephen's innocent. I believe he has been framed. And I think he should be released. So I don't care if Stephen's talking to me. I don't care if his family hates me. I'm always going to be here supporting him. And to hear that Sandra said, remove me from your list because her BFFs were kicked because they talk shit about his lawyer. And people who want to play semantics about talking shit about the lawyer. Yes, Tracy is entitled to her opinion on Kathleen's filings. Go for it. But when you're calling yourself a supporter and that you speak to Stephen and you visit Stephen, you don't talk shit about his lawyer by questioning. And talking shit about his lawyer is questioning every fucking thing she does. And sorry, I'm going to swear a lot. So if you got children in the room, maybe you want to wear headphones. But I'm going to swear. So you don't talk shit about his lawyer. So she wants to continue her brand or whatever the fuck that she wants to be on YouTube. And yes, I know she's not making money off of subscribers yet because nobody gives a fuck about Tracy. Well, I shouldn't say that. She's got 3,000 people on Facebook. So she's trying to build up her YouTube So she can monetize it. She can try and deny it now that I go out saying she's going to try and make money off of this, just like all the other fuckers that are on there making money off of Steven's name. Meanwhile, all those people bond together to try and say, I'm the fucking thief. Thief of what? Show me. Other than people talking shit about me saying I steal money. Show me actual proof I've stolen money from anything, anywhere. Go for it. I say it over and over again every time. Every time these people say I steal money, and I always say, where are the receipts? Show me where I steal money. I don't fucking steal money. And I know Carla just tweeted in the last week showing her proof that I'm making money off of supporters when we talked about my trespassing ticket and people offered to pay the ticket. And so I said what my PayPal was. And so it's like, yep, look, blah, blah, blah. You all offered, and I said it from the get-go by me saying that I was going to get attacked that I'm taking money from supporters. I'm not taking money from supporters. You know, it was offered to me to pay the ticket. Great. I'm not rich. Trust me, I'm not. So if somebody wants to pay that ticket, thank you. I appreciate it. I mean, especially the amount of driving I've been doing this week alone. Oh my God. It's insane what I'm paying in gas. So, but I'm not stealing any money. I am a supporter. That's all. Christy made a GoFundMe for me once. That was a joke. Because if you even looked at the GoFundMe, she talks about for Red Lobster. You know, and that's making fun of Carla had a GoFundMe for her to go to Red Lobster. You know, so it wasn't a real GoFundMe. Unlike Carla needed one for her Thanksgiving dinner. Carla needed one for Christmas dinner. Carla needed one to go to Red Lobster. Way back in the day when Making a Murderer first came out, there was one for her to go to a spa. Her son, Randy, had one because his car was broken and wanted people to pay for his car. Sandy has had them because her basement flooded. Why should supporters be paying for all that stuff? So I don't have any of that. So people offered to pay the ticket for the trespassing because I was doing that video for the supporters. And so, okay. So I am now officially on his list. I will be going to visit him. And what I can report back to you, I will. You know, there's obviously things that Steven says that I can't pass on. But I'm talking now about the drama bullshit because I'm so fucking sick of it. And I haven't even had to deal with it. The moderators are the ones that have been dealing with it because I've barely been online this week. I haven't been on very much. Because let's see, what was it? On Monday, yeah. So on Monday, I drove down to the prison that Melissa Kaluzinski is in because I was going to an event in Springfield, Illinois. That's our capital here. So that's where all the politicians are. And so there was an event Monday night in Springfield that was honoring our lieutenant governor, whom I love, Juliana Stratton. I worked hard for her to win. You know, I marched in parades with her. I did phone banks with her. Juliana Stratton, I really hope she runs for president someday and you'll all fall in love with her too. So it was honoring Juliana Stratton and our new governor's wife, M.K. Pritzker. And those two women, criminal justice reform is like at the top of their priority list. So I went there since I've joined this organization called WMP Justice Review. So the woman who actually owns that, runs that, created that, is the driving force behind Justice Review. We went together to that at night. And so I was able to introduce her to Juliana. And then Juliana gave her scheduling person's contact information so she could schedule a meeting with Juliana. And then I talked to MK because I wasn't able to get MK, but I talked to MK's staff person and got their card so she can contact MK. And because something they also said at that event that night is that they weren't going to focus just on criminal justice reform. They were going to be focusing on women in prison. And then they brought up that they were going to go to Logan Correctional the next day. And Logan Correctional is where Melissa Kaluzinski is, where I just had been right before that on Monday. So on Monday, I visited Marnie Yang. And her case, like I've told you guys before, is when you look at everything online is she's guilty. I've never talked to her before. We emailed once because talking about, so I had emailed her to tell her when I was coming because her dad wants me to start visiting with her. And so I went and visited Marnie first in the morning, and Marnie was an open book with me. And if I wanted to ask any question about her case and all that, and then after my visit, so I visited Marnie from 9:30 to 1, and then visited Melissa Kaluzinski from 1 to 4:30, and then went from there to the event in Springfield because the prison is about a half hour from Springfield. So that was my Monday. Tuesday, I did an event in Chicago. Then I had I had to do a press conference in Chicago. Then I had a lunch meeting out here in the suburbs. Then I exercised. Then I went to a rally. And now today I had to drive back down to Springfield because I was doing a protest at the Capitol. So I haven't really been on. And the moderators have been dealing with the bullshit. And so there were still people who, even in here in gossip, are defending Tracy. We're not going to hear any of it. All right. You're entitled to your opinion. Tracy has her group. Have fun in Tracy's group. You're not going to be deleted from this group just for being in Tracy's group. We're not doing what Tracy does to our members, that they're just deleting you just because you exist. If you talk shit over there, because again, spies go both ways. They have people in here and we have a bazillion people over there. So, we see all too. But we don't care. If you want to defend Tracy, just go fuck yourself. That's how I feel right now. Go fuck yourself. Tracy is somebody who has been nasty to Steven. So you want to defend that, go take that over to Tracy's page. Go tell Tracy how awesome she is, that she's not a lawyer, but pretends to be, and then wants to knock Steven's lawyer at every turn, but then go, I'm a supporter and we're going to have a rally in support of Steven, even though I'm saying I don't know if he's guilty. So can we just move on? The moderators and myself, we're not going to approve any posts that you try to submit here that's going to talk about Tracy in the positive. Gone. Not going to do it. If I see any posts here, gone. I know the moderators had a lot of trouble with some people. So like Guy Roll, who I've talked to in lives before and was always a decent dude to me in lives, But apparently he went off the rails in the past couple of days and was defending Tracy. And so the moderators had enough and kicked him out. And now he was just messaging Stephen Avery Project a little bit ago asking, you know, what happened to the group? Did I get rid of the group? So, you know, and I've said this before too, that the moderators, it's up to them what they, you know, it's not because I'm the face of Stephen Avery Project, they have to check with me first before they kick or ban people. They know, go ahead and do what's best. I'm the one that gets the blame for it. So I'm sure this role guy will go in Tracy's group and bitch about me that I kicked him out of here when I didn't have anything to do with it. I wasn't even on here. But that's fine, whatever. I'm used to being made bad guy. It's fine, whatever. I don't really care. So, you know, the moderators here are on all the time, and they can make their own decisions because, like I said, we're a team. 2 of the moderators have been with Stephen Avery Project longer than I have. I wouldn't be a part of Stephen Avery Project if not for them. They're the ones that talked to Curtis, who created Stephen Avery Project. And when he was saying he was done, they were the ones that suggested that I take over Stephen Avery Project. So I wouldn't be here if not for them. So I'm not going to tell them what they can do here. That's ridiculous. So to recap, again, Tracy and Angie were removed because of things that they have done. Had nothing to do with me. Because I don't give a shit if they talk to Stephen. I don't give a shit if they visit Stephen. It has nothing to do with whatever my relationship is with Stephen. I don't feel threatened that people I don't like talk to him because I don't care. Stephen's his own person and do what you want. I'm not your babysitter, not your mom. So I would have never asked for them to be removed. Because I don't care if they're on. You know, Stephen's been told for the years I've been talking to him, if you want me to visit, I'll visit you. If you don't. And now he added me. So I'll go visit him. And that will be that. Let me scroll and see if there's anything here for me to answer. Talking about swearing. I always swear. I have a really, really bad mouth. Dondi says, are we talking about Sandy, who has been Stephen's friend for years? Correct. I've always had an issue with Sandy. And here's why. She is the one that dumped Stephen originally when they were some kind of weird couple. Stephen didn't find out about it until it was on TV. That's how he found out about it. And then once Making a Murderer becomes a big deal, then she's out and about telling people she's his girlfriend when she wasn't. Then she gets jealous that he talks to girls. And then she argued with Stephen at some point, and so then she sold a nasty story to a tabloid and talked shit about Stephen on it, and then begs him for forgiveness to come back in because her popularity revolves around her having contact with Stephen. So Stephen brought her back, but only as a friend, but then she'll constantly allude to, you know, and act out like they're a couple. They're not. They haven't been in forever. So I don't like that. And I initially used to defend Sandra all the time because she was there for him when nobody else was. But let's not get it twisted. She was there for him because she was a lonely old lady. because now here's what happened at one time when she and Steven fought. She then started writing to some rapist in his prison, and then she had changed her Facebook profile to say she was engaged to this rapist. So it's like, so is she just inmate shopping? I don't know. So it's all very weird. And then it was she and some other people started a group that then they started calling, this is Steven's official Facebook group. And it's like, oh my God, now we have to, it's always this bullshit. And I actually, that's the last time I talked to one of them from there, who, when they started that group, she asked me for tons of advice. She asked me who were trolls, who were bad, who were good. I helped her with it. Because again, I'm not threatened by anybody else having a Steven Avery group. I could give a shit. And so she brought something up to me about because it was another time when Sandy had taken a time out. She does this all the time where she's leaving all the Facebook groups and woe is me. And it's because her and Steven fought again because Steven told her to stop saying that she's his girlfriend. And so me and the other girl talked about it. And I said, well, yeah, it's ridiculous. She's not his girlfriend and she never will be. And then that's when she was defending Sandy and saying, oh, well, I just hope he smartens up and realizes Sandy's the one for him. Sandy's not the one for him. Okay? I'm not trying to be mean, but she's a lot older than him. And he's not looking for somebody a lot older than him. All right? So, and I'm not saying that's me either, because I've told you before in my very first phone conversation with Steven, I told him I'm not looking to date him, and I'm not. I have no interest in Steven romantically at all. All right. And I know I'm talking a whole lot of shit. And now this video is going to get stolen by the spies and go over there. And then I'm going to be ripped on. I'm being mean about poor sweet old Sandy. Well, sweet old Sandy told Steven to take her off his list because she, has to side with Angie and Tracy. So that to me shows she's not a supporter of Steven. So I don't understand then why they even continue their group or continue this rally. Or will it be like Carla's threat of, if Steven puts me on the list, she's done with him and she'll only support Brendan. So will their stupid rally be only about Brendan? And then why would anybody who supports Steven, why would you attend that if it's people now who are against Steven? I find it quite disgusting. Oh, and Steven and I talked again about today about how Carla and Chuck are the ones that called Josh Radant to tattle on me for walking on his property. And Steven is convinced that Chuck really didn't have anything to do with it. It would be all Carla putting that bug in Chuck's ear. So, I don't know. All right. Again, let me go read your posts now. Claire says, and you make sure you visit with your head held high. You've done nothing wrong. Thank you, Claire. Lila says, any support should go to Steven and Brendan. No money anywhere else. Right. And that's what got me in trouble before is, no, do not give money to the family. No. And something I discussed with Steven the other day is he had said that Carla claims there was $200 left from that Christmas GoFundMe she had. And so Steven told her to put that $200 on his mom's phone account because he talks to his mom every day. And that as far as he knows, that money still hasn't been put on there. And so, and I said to him, hey, do you want me to do something, to try and raise money for people to put on your mom's phone account? So I told them how I still have these 2 autographed books sitting here, that kind of stuff. And Steven says to me, well, no, that's not needed right now. Once that $200 is gone, then maybe. So, not trying to take advantage of his supporters of keep racking up that money. He says, No, when that $200 is gone, then we'll see about, putting money on his mom's phone account. So to me, that was a really good thing that he said. So, all right, back to your post that I can see. People replying to each other. Brandon says, don't let this distract y'all from the fact that in 1966, Al Bundy scores okay, that's just a jokey post. Scrolling past. Oh, Christy says, don't forget about the Idiotathon. So all these people that are just trying to make money off of you on YouTube are doing this MAM-a-thon that they say is 48 hours, which Stephen also thinks is ridiculous. These people are, again, they're using Stephen to make money for their own purposes. So the one douchebag, Eric O's, or however the fuck you say his pretend name, his name is Richard McAdam, who used supporter money to go on a vacation to Australia. Woo! That helps Stephen, don't it? Do what you want, but don't try and make posts here about that stupid thing. We're not promoting it. So Kimberly says, what the hell is going on? Shouldn't everyone be focusing on Steve and Brendan and stop the arguments and crap? Everyone wants the same thing, and that's the freedom of the guys. What the fuck? Well, again, if you're complaining about me discussing this, don't know if you are, this is the gossip group. So this group is for that, for me to discuss these arguments and all the bullshit that surrounds this case. Stephen Avery Project, this stuff isn't on. So if you don't like to hear this stuff, then you shouldn't be in gossip. You should only be in Stephen Avery Project. And I even put in the about of this live that I'm doing right now, if you don't like drama, then don't watch it. So this is, gossip is to clear the air on all that bullshit. Kristen says, oh, I got the top fan badge. Had to comment, LOL. Oh, and on those badges, just so you all know, we don't have anything to do with those. Because I know we've had in the past people like thanking us for the badge or whatever. That's a whole automatic Facebook thing. So we don't do that. Tana says, people that cuss are intelligent. Julie says, does Marnie seem an okay person? I've always wondered about her conviction. So Marnie said to me that being wrongfully convicted has made her a bitter bitch. And that she doesn't make any friends in prison and she keeps to herself, and that, she's kind of nasty. So I got along with her just fine, and like I said, she told me stuff about her case. She told me I could ask her whatever I wanted and she would answer those. And then I also talked with Tammy from WMP Justice Review, and she was showing me evidence about the case because we went to dinner that night too. So let me just say, there's a lot to show that she's innocent. Just nobody out there has seen it. Holly. Oh, God. Sorry. Text message. Inez says, I heard Brendan has been moved. He should have been moved home. Poor kid. He should be free. Yes. So Brendan was removed to a new prison in Oshkosh, which is a better place for him all around. He's got more opportunities there. It's closer to his family for visits. And I guess there's something about how you had to have served like 10 years, when you're convicted of a murder or, something like that, before you can be considered to go to the better prison. So that's a good thing for him. I know there's people who keep jumping to the conclusion that because he moved, it means, oh, he's going to get out soon. No, that doesn't mean that at all. I mean, I would like to, I would love that. But, regardless of what happens to Stephen, it doesn't mean the door, so if Kathleen gets Stephen out, the door doesn't open and get Brendan out. They were convicted separately and on two totally different things. And Brendan confessed. We all know it's a coerced confession and should be thrown out and has been thrown out and then put back in. So him moving to Oshkosh does not mean it's just clearing the way that he's going to walk out the door soon. But let's knock on wood that he does still go home this year. All right, what can I see at the top here? Julie says, I get all my frustrations out in these lives. Thank you, Jax, for giving a place to vent. Carrie says, this is a gossip group, people, and Carrie's one of our moderators. Stick with the page and the other groups we have if you can't handle gossip. We don't gossip there. We are for support in the case. They are for support in the case only. If anyone complains about the gossip from now on, they will be removed. Simple. Don't join a gossip group if you don't like it. And let me just lay this down for you all too. Sometimes the moderators and myself included, remember that when stuff gets typed, you don't necessarily get its intent. And we deal with a lot of bullshit. So they might, so there may be times that a moderator jumps to a conclusion and boots somebody, and maybe their post wasn't intended to be nasty like it came across. Cut us some slack, because you really have no clue what we, and I'm not trying to sound like a douchebag, even though it sounds like a douchebag, what we have dealt with the last 3 years. Myself, Patty, and Carrie have been attacked for a long, long time, and horrible things done to the three of us, or said about, I shouldn't say done, said about us. So sometimes our thick skin thins out a little bit, and then we're like, no soup for you, you're gone. Andrea says, hello, Jax. Are you guys getting snow? Nope, no snow, but it's only 39 degrees here. And it was gorgeous yesterday. Ridiculous. Natasha says, oh yeah, the Dr. Phil show, that was ridiculous. Oh my God, yeah. Ugh. Connie says she loves On the Guilters as much as the others do. Yeah, that's another problem I have with Tracy and Carla and all that. I'm not going to make friends with a guilter. Just not. Especially if you're blood related, you're his family, and you're going to put your arms around somebody who says Stephen is guilty and says Dolores should die. Oh my God. But they do the whole, they try to act like, their nose in the air and they're so good and everybody's entitled to their opinion. Yeah, they are, but not if you're a Stephen supporter. They aren't. In a support page, guilters should not be there. So, but they all do it. All the YouTube freaks, they do it too. Guilters, welcome, because we want you to click on our ads. Claire says, ha ha ha, I bet the family is rolling with frothy mouths because you're allowed to visit, as they know the truth will come out with regards to their money, and bad behavior. Yeah, they hate me. Whatever. Kimberly says, didn't she dump him live on Dr. Phil show? Yep. Connie says she's old enough to be his mom. Mm-hmm. Fuck, yes, I know, all my ums. I'm sorry. I'm never going to get rid of that. But I still think it would be great that we do a squares thing. and count how many times I say in a live. Marianne says, it boils me that they assume Steven is some sort of mental deficient, that he can't choose for himself who he wants on his list or not. It's like a group of tween girls in a cafeteria who think their boyfriend can't think for himself. It's disturbing. I agree. No. I've been talking to Steven for 2 years now, right? Has it been 2 years? A little over 2 years? Haven't been on his list until now. Don't care. It doesn't make or break me if I'm on his list. I'm still going to continue supporting his innocence. So now, once you're on the list, you can't come off for 6 months. But after the 6 months, he could remove me. If he removes me in 6 months and he's not free in 6 months, we will continue on here as always. It won't change anything. You know, he talks to a lot of different people. So he wants to, if he wants to change that up on who comes visits him, because remember, he's limited to how many he can have. So Tony says, forget what they say. Oh yeah, I know. Connie says, honesty is not mean, it's honesty. Yeah. Jasmine says they're fame whores, groupies. That's what I think. Natasha says, if she doesn't want to be on his list, she's obviously not a very good friend. Well, because she's siding with the other girls, so she's a good friend to them, but not to Steven. Libby says, what the fuck? Why would you decide to not support someone's innocence because you're jealous about someone else? Gross. Marianne says, removing herself from the list like a temper tantrum. Exactly. Sarah says, you're an amazing person. Don't let others bring you down. And let me just say and I've said this before on here, I'm animated when I talk about these things on here, but I'm truly not bothered by it. You know, it doesn't eat me away. I actually laugh about this stuff. It didn't always used to be that way. Early on, I'd get really fucking pissed off. You know, but it's just the same old, same shit, different day. You know, what can they say about me today? Oh, it's the same thing every time. I steal money. That's all they say about me every time. And whatever, I don't care. Keep on swimming, keep on swimming. Julie says, all the stuff with the rally that I have seen only talks about supporting Brendan. Well, then maybe we'll schedule one for Steven. Andrea says, maybe if Sandy's a lonely old lady, maybe she should get together with Sweaty Sweat and his daughter wife's little sexting party. That's funny. Rhonda says, who do we give money to then? We have pinned posts in Gossip as well as on Steven Avery Project and how you can donate directly to Steven's commissary or directly to Kathleen. As well as we have put up how you can, well, I don't have Brendan's canteen now that he's moved to another prison. So I guess we'll have to look into that to update how to send to Brendan. But you can send to the Northwestern, what are they called? I'm so bad. The Northwestern Law School or whatever that Drizzen and Nyrider are from, that you can give to his lawyers. Those are the only places. So Denise says, so wasn't Sandy the loyal friend? What happened? Well, she's never been loyal because she's left several times and come back. When she doesn't get her way with Steven, she leaves, throws a fit, and then comes back because she needs the Steven Avery supporters because she wants the attention. Claire says, hang on, so all that money Carla collected for a supposed Christmas and poor Ma and Pa account only raised 200 pounds. Are you kidding me? No. $200 is all she says she has left. You know, she did buy some stuff for Dolores and Alan because she has to. Because if she didn't have proof of doing anything for them, then people would really rip on her. So, but there's no real accounting of all of it. So who knows what happened to it? Since I know the very first time she did the rally and collected money from people, she took a share and her friends took a share before then they split up the balance to give to Stephen and Brendan. So Stephen and Brendan got a little something so they can say they gave it to him, but they first took their cuts. Pam says, have you heard anything about the GoFundMe for Brendan that Barb made? Heard Barb got paranoid about getting in trouble, being Brendan didn't get released. Well, what I heard, and this was a while ago, that people were demanding their money back because of, more and more of Kathleen's filings of people getting upset with Barb, and that money is supposed to be sitting in account for Brendan for when he gets out. And so they wanted to see an accounting of that money was all there. And Barb refused because of course she can't, because the money's not there. And so then she took the GoFundMe down. So I believe it's still down. Connie says, what about the money being funneled to an overseas account? I don't trust that either, because that's Sandy's boy toy guy. That she raves about that guy. So it's a Sandy connection. So, and I just think it's ridiculous to send money out of the country for Stephen. That's weird. So Julie says, where Brendan is now, they have JPay emails. Very inexpensive and a great way to communicate. Not sure if Stephen's prison has JPay. I don't believe Stephen does. Illinois, we have it here. So I email with Melissa, Marnie, and Kent Pellegrini. So, but Stephen, I don't think Stephen has access to it. Earl says, what is KZ's next step now that the state has said no new trial? Well, the state doesn't get to say no new trial. The state gets to request from the court, you should say no new trial. We're still waiting for the court to decide. So Kimberly says, my favorite group, love the gossip. Well, thank you for being here, Kimberly. Misty says, how much money did you get for filing your discovery? I donated and never even got a thank you. You didn't? There was, I've posted it before on how much, and I've posted thank yous before as well. There was $239 that came in. And then I had visited Melissa, and I put $100 on her commissary and $400 on her food. And then I gave $20 to her parents in visiting, because for gas money for them to go visit Melissa. And then, what else came in? There was like a little over $50 that came in after that. And so then I used that with the money that was left over for purchasing my discovery. Then I paid the ticket. So I paid the $200, and then with fees and everything, it came to $205 and whatever. And then also I had to pay to get a money order, and I had to pay $25 to mail them the $9 for my discovery. So, hey, San. Rhonda says, can't listen. I have children around in those choice words. Yeah, I'm sorry. Tana says, thank you so much. You said my name right. Oh, good. Natasha says, I'd be bitter as hell if I was in prison too. Yeah. Carolyn says, also, I think you should do a live where people add themselves to the video. That random UK guy laying in bed was amazing. Yeah, we've talked about doing that. And so when my schedule isn't so hectic, we'll definitely do that when there's nothing to discuss. And it could just be me talking with you all. Julie says, it's Jack's party and she can bitch if she wants to. Connie says, they just move people around to free up space. Melissa says, I read that Brendan's family wanted him closer to them. Well, that's not why he got moved there. Natasha says, I'll never understand how someone can be convicted on a bullshit confession and zero physical evidence. Blows my mind. I know, and it happens so often. Connie says, I personally do not feel the family wants Stephen out. They want Brendan out, but not Stephen. Yeah, I agree with you there. Michelle says, I'm amazed at the amount of trolls that are out there. I didn't even know. I didn't know this whole troll bullshit and sock accounts and all that until Making a Murderer. Crystal says, you're allowed to visit. So exciting. How did this happen? So Stephen told me he was sending out a letter, a form that I had to fill out and mail it back. And then they look into me and then they approve me, which when I talked to Stephen this morning, he said I was approved last night. And now I am approved and I can go visit him. And so I'm going to go visit soon. BJ says, yep, not only YouTube, they're getting paid for traffic on their websites as well. Ugh. Nicole says, I want to watch this, but I'm on the phone. Well, have a good call. Christy says, I will do it next live, LOL, count the ums. Well, and Christy, I don't know if you heard when there was another or an I would count those the same. That we should do a thing where we sell squares. So, but to buy the square, you would have to donate to Stephen's commissary and show us proof that you donated. You know, so we determine how much it is that you're donating to his commissary, and show us proof, and then that means you get to buy a square, and then the winner gets, you know, one of these books that I have autographed. Connie says he's only allowed so many visitors on his list. It's understandable to change it. Mm-hmm. Julie says having a hard piece of candy in your mouth when talking might curb the ums. I don't know if it would. And right now I'm dieting. So unless I find something that's like no sugar or anything, because I'm having that hard time too. I usually have the wintergreen lifesavers, you know, so they're in my car and all this stuff, you know, so when I need something and it's like, oh, that has sugar and now I'm not doing that. See, Michelle says the old woman he was dating, is she hooking up with Earl? San says, who are you guys talking about? Well, I don't know because I jump around and talk about everybody, so I don't know who you're referring to there. Natasha says, be nice if you could stream with him. Oh, be nice if you could stream with him on the phone, but it's probably against the rules and would likely break the internet. Yeah, it is not approved for Stephen to do that. It's something that I've asked Kathleen about before because we've done it with Melissa Kaluzinski before, and Kathleen gave us permission to do it with Melissa. And then I asked if I could do it with Stephen, and she said no. So what Kathleen says goes in my book. Like something that Stephen got upset with me for a long time ago is Stephen asked me to sell shirts because my boyfriend owns a print shop and it's really easy for me to do. I asked Kathleen, is it okay if I do this? And she said no. So I didn't do it. And, you know, Stephen got mad. But I figure Kathleen knows what's best for Stephen's case. And while, you know, I respect Stephen's wishes the best I can, when it comes to this, that kind of stuff, Kathleen knows best. So I have to go with that. Hold on, I got to answer this message. And there's another Sarah says, my 5-month-old enjoys listening to you. Well, I hope. Okay, I'll try and curb my language from here on out for the rest of this. Kimberly says, you should go live when Stephen calls you. Well, again, that's something you can get in trouble for. The recording says that you can't do stuff like that, and you do not want to get, because he could like lose phone privileges. So, you know, I get that supporters would really love to hear that stuff, but we all got to do whatever is best for Stephen. And we're not about doing something that just gets us more traffic, you know. Carolyn says, please do a live where people add themselves to it. Do it. Yeah, we will. I'll look at my schedule. I don't know what, you know, I'm booked the rest of this week. And I haven't looked at next week's calendar yet. Excuse me. Connie says, LOL, my daughter calls Jaxa 8675 lady. Haha. First video she caught me watching was the one where about the 8675 review. LOL. Hi, Amanda. Michelle says, oh, Carla posted about Brendan Commissary. All right. Well, then I'm sure somebody will get it to us, or if you want to get it to us, and you know, because we'll share it. I also run a public Facebook page called Free Brendan. Or I always refer to it as Free Brendan, but it might officially say Free Brendan Dassey. And I think we have 20,000 people there. Connie says, everyone needs to know the Averys are not broke. Not single one of them, not even the parents. They don't need anything. And that brings me to Paul Kaluzinski, because he asked me today, Paul has a boat charter business, and they need money. The Kaluzinski family do not have money. And so he's selling his boat. And he's got a whole bunch of gear for it and all this stuff, and he's selling it for $6,000. And he's got an ad for it on Craigslist and everything too. So he wanted me to mention, because I talked to him while I was driving my 3-hour drive home today. And so I had told him I would go live today at 5. And so he said, would you mention on there that I'm selling my boat and $6,000, you know, so if anybody's interested, and Paul will take you out on the boat to make, you know, so that you can get a run with the boat first and see that, you know, it's in great shape. So if anybody is interested in buying a boat here in Illinois, you can reach out to me and I will connect you with Paul. So, but well, the Averys, yes, everybody in the Avery family have 2 homes, and they've got tons of toys, you know, boats and snowmobiles and go-karts and all that. You can't look at them that, you know, they live in trailers, meaning they're poor. They choose to live like that. So they're not poor. So Kaluzinski family is. So again, if you're looking to buy a boat, and he tells me all the information on his boat. I can't remember it all. Oh, it has a new ship to shore radio. Okay. And it's got a bimini top. I don't know anything about boats. And so, and I've taken pictures before, because he was going to sell it once before. So he had me come over, and I took pictures of the boat, and then I took pictures of all the equipment that comes with it, all these fishing poles and all the tackle boxes and all this kind of stuff. So again, so hi, Paul, if you're watching this at some point, that I put the plug in, if you want to buy his boat. And what is my boyfriend doing home? He just pulled in, and he always works Wednesday nights. So that's interesting. So I'll be going soon, unless he's just stopping here for a minute. Connie says, everyone needs, oh, I just read that. Julie wishes she had a Snicker. Please don't talk about candy and I'm dieting. What a bitch. Connie says, there is now a lawyer involved in another country. This is tax evasion at its highest. Jeffrey says, Jeffrey Levine. That's like, I think it's a different spelling here. There's a Jeffrey Levine lawyer in Illinois. Has there been any gossip lately on Bobby or Scott lately, or can we not talk about them? You can talk about them all you want here. I know the family groups don't allow you to talk about Scott and Bobby, but you can say whatever you want about those guys. And I haven't heard anything on them. So hold on 1 second, please. I'm live. Why are you home? Oh, you're on the phone. Connie says, has KZ filed yet this week? Something was filed yesterday, but it said something about refund. And so I haven't asked for it because I'm not sure what it is. And then when I talked to Steven, I mentioned that to him and he didn't know what it is. So I don't know if I should ask for it or not on what that is. Julie says, Hadinat, or whatever his name is. He's an investment manager and offered to start a fund like a trust for when Steven is released. And yeah, I know it's, Sandy has full trust in him. Well, I don't have full trust in Sandy. So I don't recommend anybody giving money to that. Again, put it in his commissary or give it to Kathleen. Yeah, Tom says $25 to pay $9. Crazy. But that's because I also sent it so it would get there right away. Because my court date was scheduled for April 12th. And it's like, I can't mess around with this. They need to get this stuff right away. So, yeah, I had to pay $25 to send this. It was like $9.10 check or money order. Emily says, hi, Jax. I was wondering if you can explain something to me. It's been bothering me ever since I read this. I was reading the police interview with Blaine. Blaine stated that when he got home from school that day at 3:45, Bobby was home sleeping. How is that possible if Bobby left to go hunting an hour before that? Well, there's so many contradicting things, Emily, because we also have where Blaine said when he was coming home on the bus, he saw Bobby drive past the bus the opposite way in a blue or green vehicle. So, and you have to remember that the cops were questioning and questioning and questioning all these people, and stories kept changing, all of them. Because also the cops were trying to manipulate people into saying things the direction that they wanted to go. So Jennifer says, I think they have sugar-free Lifesavers. I'll have to look. Deborah says, hello, Jax from Dodge County, Wisconsin. Love your group. Steven is so innocent. Well, glad to have you in our group, Deborah. Julie says, I thought it was illegal to have a live call. Sorry to those that I said it was. My bad. San says, when he talks to you, it's private. Emily says, is there a way that we can ask questions and you can relay those questions to him? Well, sure. You can send me the questions, but when I talk to him on the phone and such, I try not to just like talk about the case, because that's boring for him. If he wants to talk about things, he can talk about it. But you all can do that too. Write him letters. It's really something that helps pass the time. And he's got more time now that he's no longer working in the kitchen, so he doesn't have a job currently at the prison. So go ahead and write to him. But also your questions may be something he can't answer. Or he'll answer, but then I'm not going to tell you because Stephen would say it, but it might be something that Kathleen wouldn't want answered. You know what I mean? So it's really hard there. Kimberly says, I have to go to work. Looking forward to the next live. Hopefully there will be good news. Knock on wood. Charlena says, what happened? I miss everything. LOL. Well, when I'm done with this, it will stay on here and you'll be able to play it from the beginning. Joy says, okay, I missed the beginning. Didn't KZ say she would be filing this week? Yeah, but something is logged on there, but we don't quite know what it is. So Julie says, I've spent all my $1 and $5 bills with free Stephen Avery. Oh, we talked about that in a live before, that, you know, take your money and write the hashtag free Stephen Avery, Brendan Dassey, Melissa Kaluzinski, so it just spreads around the world. Sugar-free Russell Stovers for the win, just FYI. Ooh. Okay, I will look at that. And hello, Trisha. And Tabitha says, I've been so super busy with work in softball and t-ball that I am so lost on everything. I hear you, because I haven't really been on much this week, so I get lost too. Christy says, looks like KZ maybe have requested a refund for overpaying for something. Yeah, so that's why I haven't requested that. I don't know. Holly says, Jax, so are you all squared away with your fine and everything regarding the trespassing issue? As far as I know, because I paid it yesterday. So, and then I took screenshots and I have an email saying I paid it. So it should all be done. Is everything paid for now? I appreciate all you do for this group and Stephen Avery Project. Love watching your lives. Well, thank you very much, Holly. San says, can they do that brain fingerprinting on Bobby? He would have to agree to it, and he's not going to. Nicole says, what did I miss? Just me rambling on as usual, Nicole. But you'll be able to play it from the start. And I'm almost down. I think I'm down to the bottom here now of people's comments or questions. So I'll be ending this as soon as I'm at the bottom. Now that it's Wednesday, right? See, I'm losing track of days. And my boyfriend usually works his other business Wednesday nights and he's home already. So that's also why it's like, it's easier for me to do lives on Monday, Wednesday, or Friday nights, because he doesn't come home till 9 o'clock at night. Tabitha says, yes, Kathleen has offered to pay for him, Scott, and Kratz to take it. None has said they would. Connie's got to take off. Have a good night, all. Sarah says, does Stephen write back when you write to him? He writes to some people. He doesn't write to all because he gets so many. So you could be the lucky one. But the thing that I always say to people in writing him, don't write to him in the hopes that you're getting a letter back from Stephen. Write to him in that, you know, you're helping make him have a better day. You know, so tell him about yourself, where you're from. Tell him, you know, what you like and what, you know, movies you like or shows you watch, or, you know, do you have pets? Tell him about your pets. If you garden, because Stephen likes to garden, you know, talk about that. If he loves cars, talk about cars, you know. So do something to try and take his mind off of what he's dealing with, not just because you hope to hear back from Stephen Avery. So shoot him a letter and you never know. Krista says, unfortunately, the sugar-free stuff has sugar alcohol, but they don't count it as sugar. Yeah, I know. See, I never know. Tom says, Jack says romance time. Oh, yeah, right. Deborah says, hello from Australia. School holidays so I can watch. Ooh, nice. And now I'm down to the bottom. All right. So since I'm down to the bottom, I will recap why I went live today. Is that I have been approved to visit Stephen, and I'll be visiting him soon. And then I will fill you all in that about the visit afterwards. What are you doing, hon? Okay. So I'm going to go because it's been a, like I said, crazy week, and I have more driving tomorrow because I'm getting tattooed tomorrow. And then I'm going to an event in Chicago. Did Sandy and Steven break up years ago? They haven't been together in a long, long time. So, and I know people give the impression that they were dating. They're not dating. Krista says, can't wait to hear about your visit. Julie says, Steven will probably like some one-liner jokes. Yeah, absolutely. You know, tell him some jokes. He's a funny guy, actually. And Valerie, again, don't go yet. I'm going because I want to lay on the couch. You know, because I drove to Springfield today. It was 3 hours there and 3 hours back, and you're driving through farmland, and it was so windy today, and my car is shaking all over, and it's like, ugh. And then I was a good girl because when I got home, I changed into my workout clothes, and I did my weightlifting and I did my elliptical. So even though, you know, I had to leave at 6:30 this morning and drive, now I did my workout when I got home. So what tattoo am I getting done? I'm getting a tattoo for one of my activist groups. So I'm getting the logo from an activist group put on me. So, all right. So movie with the boyfriend. No, apparently he's outside now working in his garage. So so I'm probably going to be on my own period while he's doing that stuff. Doctor's orders. Well, thank you, Dr. Davies. So I'll update you guys all on the tattoo, I guess, next time too. And you'll be able to see it because I'm getting it on my arm. All right, I'm out. Thanks for joining me. Until next time.